Good morning, everyone. We were expecting about 20 or so, and we were just only at 3, so we were in a little panic, like, where's everyone? But it's early morning. I mean, it's first thing in the morning, right? So, so we're getting going. So maybe we'll wait just a few minutes. Josh, do you want to? Okay. So we appreciate everyone signing up for this series. This is the 3rd in our series, so very exciting. And we really appreciate Verizon being part of our series today as well. Upcoming, we do have the next week session on hiring older adults, and the Partnership for Age-Friendly Communities is doing that. And the apprenticeship breakfast is full. I guess they have 69 people for 62 seats. So I'm not sure that's going to work out. Get there early so you can get breakfast. And they have 95 people registered for that. So that's a big topic as well. And then we also have another DEI in June. And then we also have an experience where you can learn to be a business that does job shadows. So if that's something that you're interested in, look at our talent series for that. So, so maybe get to what time it is. 8:30. Josh, you want to get started? Because you need the whole hour to do what you're doing. So we're super excited today to partner with Josh Miller and Verizon. As I got to know them better and met with them early on when I started here at the chamber, learned that they've been on this DEI journey as a company for 3 or 4 years and really have some great learnings and some great takeaways. And so asked them if they could present today. And so Josh is just amazing participant and a big champion of this work and a great, I think, Verizon employee. So if I ever get a supervisor, I can say so. I will say that for Josh. So we're super excited to have Josh here today, and I'll let him tell you a little bit more about his work. And this is a wonderful, powerful session. So I'm glad you've joined us today. So Josh, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Yvonne, so much. And I'll make sure to bring you to my performance review later this year. So thank you for those kind words. My name is Josh Miller. I serve as the manager of community engagement for Verizon in Colorado, the state of Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. And we recently became chamber members this year, and we're really excited to see this relationship grow and be part of the Fort Collins chamber community. So we look forward to that. And if you're at the event tonight, please say hello. Would love to catch up with you. I am going to share my screen so you can see the presentation that I have prepared. Okay, and I'm sorry. Can you just vocalize that you can see this? Because I can't see you guys anymore.
Yeah, we can see it, Josh.
Wonderful. Well, great. Today, I'm going to just take us through a little bit about Verizon's journey on our corporate social responsibility, the values that we have, and the work that we do around DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion. A few years back, Verizon underwent an internal business strategy shift called Verizon 2.0. And within Verizon 2.0 was Verizon's responsible business plan to better impact communities across the country that we serve. We call this plan Citizen Verizon. So what is Citizen Verizon? Well, the motto and the creed of this business plan is that Verizon is committed to moving the world forward for everybody. Citizen Verizon is our company-wide responsible business plan that deepens its historic commitment to social responsibility. It was planned and implemented before the pandemic, and it's integrated throughout Verizon's overall business strategy. With Citizen Verizon, Verizon is leveraging our technology, innovation, and people to make the world a better place, and we're on a mission to help solve some of the biggest challenges that impact underrepresented populations. As part of Citizen Verizon, Verizon plans to exceed $3 billion in its investment during 2025, between 2020 and 2025, to continue helping vulnerable communities and helping to close the digital divide. So we're committed to moving the world forward for all. And we do this through 3 focus areas that we call our corporate social responsibility pillars. That's digital inclusion, climate protection, and human prosperity. With Citizen Verizon, Verizon is addressing the important role that technology played during the pandemic as well, in addition to these 3 pillars. And so we know that technology was critical in areas of education, employment, and medicine. Prior to COVID-19, many Americans were unemployed or underemployed and lacked access to tech skills to thrive in the digital workforce. Lastly, the planet was also experiencing serious climate issues prior to COVID-19, and it will after this pandemic subsides. So Verizon is committed to committing a lot of our technology and resources to protecting the environment. This is more of a high-level overview, and then I'll go in depth a little bit more on our 3 pillars. But with digital inclusion, we want to address barriers to digital inclusion and enable connectivity for those who need it most. One of the biggest goals of this is that by 2030, we want to provide 10 million youth with digital skills training and support 1 million small businesses with tech resources and tools. When it comes to climate protection, we want to reduce our impact, our overall impact from our operations, and innovate to minimize climate impact on communities. The biggest goal out of this is that we want to become net zero in carbon emissions nationwide in our operations by 2035. And then in human prosperity, we'll create an opportunity for individuals and communities to thrive and responsibly grow our business. A couple of the big goals out of this is that we want to support 500,000 individuals with tech training by 2030 and achieve 2.5 million employee volunteer hours by 2025. So we'll go a little bit more in depth on our 3 pillars here at Verizon. When it comes to digital inclusion, we have four focus areas that we work on. One is access to connectivity with sufficient speeds. Affordability, we want to make sure that we're creating affordable devices with connectivity that offer quality service without significant restrictions. Application, using connectivity to transform lives through services and the skills to use them. And advocacy, urging policymakers to create new and long-lasting solutions to address the digital divide. Again, here are some of our commitments. 10 million youth provided with digital skills by 2030. We have 7 different initiatives and programs that are currently working right now to help achieve that. One is Verizon Innovative Learning. This really helps schools and communities across the country with updated curriculum, tools, connectivity, access to better ensure that that the youths of tomorrow are more prepared to operate in a global economy. We also want to provide 1 million small businesses with resources to help them thrive. And so we have an entire program called the Verizon Small Business Digital Ready Program. We'll shift over to climate protection. So Verizon is committed to achieving net zero emissions in our operations by 2035. We're taking concrete steps to reduce our emissions and invest in renewable energy. We are leveraging our technology and engaging innovators to address the impacts of climate change on at-risk populations to help them be safer, healthier, and more prosperous as the climate changes. And so we're doing this by reducing our overall impact that our company has nationwide through our operations. We're redesigning the way that we package our products, design our products, and the materials that go in our products. A lot of our office space nationwide has gone through, green cleaning, and a lot of our stores are shifting to renewable forms of energy to power our Verizon retail stores. So this is all really great stuff to work on, especially in Colorado, where we value climate protection. That's a pretty paramount value in our way of life. And then the last pillar I'll get to is human prosperity. And you're probably all thinking to yourself at this moment, what is human prosperity? Because it's a pretty broad phrase. Well, Verizon is committed to helping to build a stronger future. Within our human prosperity pillar, we have our reskilling and upskilling programs to better prepare populations for jobs in the future economy. And this isn't just students and school-age individuals. We're helping senior citizens. We're helping the mentally challenged and disabled. We have several programs across the country dedicated to just ensuring that people are adequately prepared for the jobs that they're taking on. We want to ensure inclusivity for both our employees and suppliers. I think this I can expand on a little bit more. Advancing social and racial justice is an important value here at Verizon. LGBTQ equality, women's equality, both in society and the workplace, mental health, ensuring that our veterans community and military communities are taken care of. And then we also want to promote prosperity through employee volunteerism. And I'll touch on our employee volunteerism here in just a few slides. A little bit more on human prosperity, but we really are committed to creating opportunities for individuals and communities to thrive. And so we've pledged to prepare 500,000 individuals for jobs of the future by 2030. And we do this through, again, lots of our grant making, our sponsorship, and through initiatives and programs that we create here at the company. Two of those are our Verizon Skill Forward program and our Verizon Thrive apprenticeship program. So that concludes our three pillars that that our company values. Going more into a little bit of our diversity, equity, and inclusion work that we do really does start with our employee base. And so we have a pretty robust system called our employee resource groups. And our employee resource groups are our de facto ambassadors of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We use our employee resource groups to create and sustain a diverse and inclusive culture. It's essential that we engage and empower our employees so they can fulfill their greatest potential. Our global employee resource groups, ERGs, otherwise known as, and their members serve as ambassadors of diversity, equity, inclusion. ERGs help the V team to value and leverage our differences and similarities. By collaborating through ERGs, members bring their whole authentic selves to work and contribute their unique perspectives. Knowing their voices are heard and that their work is valued, they find a strong sense of belonging to help drive Verizon's competitive advantage. We want every member of the V team to bring their best selves and feel included at work every day. So in addition to engaging thousands of V teamers through our ERGs, we strengthened our best practices for a diverse and inclusive culture by expanding the reach of our unconscious bias training. Live workshops and virtual trainings were implemented, covering all levels of the organization back in 2018. As we continue to learn about and discuss the impact of unconscious bias, we will explore the opportunities to ensure our policies and practices and systems evolve to reflect that learning. So here's a list of our Verizon ERGs. It's definitely all encompassing. I, as a gay employee of Verizon, am a member of Verizon Prism. And, you know, it's a really cool addition to the company because yes, I do feel heard as an employee. Our Verizon Prism last year, we did everything from bring in one of our community stakeholders, which is One Colorado. They serve as an LGBTQ advocacy organization here in the state, and they came in and did a virtual pronoun training. Over 150 employees attended that training, and it was really well received. But we also do fun things too, like Verizon Prism will have virtual drag queen bingo occasionally throughout the year. And then also Verizon Prism will advise the company on HR practices to be more inclusive in our recruitment, in our retainment, and our overall day-to-day work operations. Kind of four areas that our ERGs really do help advance our company with your career. There are mentoring abilities, there's leadership panels, we do lunch and learns, as I just mentioned. They bring in external speakers, and they'll also help you with your professional development. And when it comes to our customer, ERGs are really integral at advising our company on supplier diversity and making sure that Verizon is sourcing a lot of our materials for what we need to do from minority-owned companies and suppliers. When it comes to our community, we want to foster economic inclusion community engagement and positive change. And so ERGs here at the company have the ability to do community outreach, to promote community leaders, have scholarships, engage with nonprofits. And overall, it does help our culture. It enhances our cultural understanding. It strengthens our inclusive efforts here at the company. They help promote Heritage and History Month so other employees know what's happening. And I'll just take Verizon Prism again as an example. There's 4,500 members of Verizon, or 4,500 employees of Verizon that are members of Prism. And without a lot of them, many of their coworkers wouldn't know a lot about the LGBTQ culture, or even know maybe that it's Pride Month in June. And so these things really do help boost pride and morale throughout the company. And employee volunteerism. Here at Verizon, employee volunteerism is pretty woven into our culture. We have a company-wide goal of 2.5 million volunteer hours by 2025. This is all done through our employee volunteer portal that we have. Verizon employees can check the portal, and folks like me, the community engagement managers, identify these opportunities, and then they can sign up. And we do both virtual and in-person events. As of December of 2021, I'm still waiting for the mid-year update for this year, but as of 2021, our company has committed over 1 million volunteer hours, which is really great. And we've helped over 300 nonprofits. And then again, we align our volunteer engagement within our 3 pillars of our corporate social responsibility. And so this is really making a great impact here in the community. Next month in Denver, our team is partnering with the Denver Park Trust, and we're doing a tree planting day in City Park. And so that's just an example of the many things that we do. Earlier this year, we did a mentoring event with the Denver Scholarship Foundation, but there's a real appetite here at the company for our employees to engage in the community through volunteerism. And then I'll just bring things home quickly to Colorado. We started our community engagement program here in Colorado about 2 years ago. I believe the community engagement work that our company is doing started about 4 or 5 years ago. And almost every state or region or big city has a version of me there on the ground, identifying volunteer opportunities, community partners, and administering Verizon Foundation grant funding to groups that align with our corporate social responsibility. And so these are just a few of the groups from over the last 2 years that we've come in to support. It's a pretty diverse group. They all do wonderful things in the community, but we're involved with veterans. We were the first corporate sponsors of the Juneteenth Festival here in Denver. We're involved with Denver Pride Fest. We help our neighborhood groups out by serving Capitol Hill United Neighbors here in Denver. We funded the No Place for Hate campaign at the Anti-Defamation League, which is an anti-bullying program committed to the elimination of hate, and it's in 65 schools across Colorado. We were just up in your neck of the woods a few weeks ago, volunteering at the CSU Science and Engineering Fair, and here's a picture of a bunch of our V-teamers at that fair. But it's a really diverse group of individuals. We have about a dozen to 15 community partners a year, and we keep it low too because we really like to maximize our time with these groups. And so I know a lot of our corporate colleagues out there, might have 100 people that they give sponsorships and grant funding to, but we have a handful. We like it to be, a mutual friendship and relationship where we're going to their events, they're coming to ours, we're engaging in thought leadership opportunities with them, panel discussions, volunteer opportunities, and it works really well for us here in the state. So lastly, and before I conclude, how can your company, how can your organization incorporate DE&I into your business, especially if you don't have the resources that a Fortune 500 company like Verizon has? Well, one, I think that as leaders of your company, creating a safe place to have these conversations, and establishing that is going to lead to a lot of wonderful ideas from your employees, because they're going to feel safe at work. They're going to feel motivated at work. They're going to feel included at work. I mentioned to you all how we have Verizon Prism. I'm an openly gay employee. I feel super included here at Verizon. Our company really takes pride in making sure that our minority communities are represented and heard. Also, no business, big or small, you can always adopt a local nonprofit or charity in your community. And by doing so, especially if you're a storefront or a restaurant, have a day of the month that you contribute 50% of your proceeds or however amount to that community-based organization. It's a great way to drive traffic into your business. It's a great way to tap into the network of that nonprofit as well, to attract business. And also, it's just kind of becoming the norm now that businesses in the community have to give back just a little bit. And so you can also organize a volunteer event. I mentioned earlier, we're doing a tree planting event with the Denver Park Trust in May. Well, go out and volunteer for the Boys and Girls Club of Larimer County and organize your employees on a Saturday afternoon, or, during a Tuesday night after work. And then I'll just end again with saying, listen to your employees. If they want to get involved in the community on behalf of your company and it aligns with your mission, I recommend letting them. I think that when you listen to your employees, you create that safe workplace. It's not just good for your business, it's good for your entire team. You'll see immense results come out of that. And so these are just a few of the ideas that I've had. And with that, I thank you so much for having me today, and I'm happy to answer any questions or even take this to a discussion if you all feel. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see all of you. But with that, oh, can you put up the last slide with ideas? Hold on, let me share that again. There we go.
All right, so we do have a question for you, Josh. I had a few too, but we have someone in the chat. So thank you, Serena. Is the age diverse workplace, sorry, it was there and then it went away. Is the age diverse workplace in person or virtual?
Excuse the age diverse workplace.
That's the question. Yeah. So
actually, Yvonne, that was for you.
Oh,
sorry, you had talked about upcoming sessions.
Oh, sorry, I'm behind on that.
But not Josh's, not Josh's.
It's virtual.
Okay.
Great. Great. So I had a couple, I'll start. Josh, I had a couple comments. I love that you called it, that you all name it unconscious bias training, because I've heard, anti-bias training, and that sure is it's interesting how we have to be really careful about the language that we use and how that sounds. And I think people are unconscious. They don't mean to do or maybe not be in the know. And so I really like that you called it that, and I'm going to be sure I use that language moving forward. I thought that was amazing. So are there things that you all have done that you've learned didn't work, or that you've done some adjustments to, and maybe even in your ERGs, right, as well?
Yeah, I was trying to think about, what didn't work. I started at this company 2 years ago. And so I feel by the time that I got in, I was able to learn a lot from the C&E managers and other government affairs team members who were in these positions for longer than I have, or two plus years more than me, on like what worked and what didn't. And I also started at a really crazy time. My first day at Verizon was the first day of the Colorado shutdown order. So I had never experienced Verizon in the physical sense. Until God, maybe 6 or 7 months ago, right? Or maybe 8 months ago. And so for us, everything was trial by fire. I also host a series of what I call community dialogues. And these are also, this is another idea I'd like to share with you. These are a great way to get leaders from different issue areas or geographic locations, into a Zoom room, and talk about that issues that are facing them and how Verizon can make a better impact. And so, by the time that we execute something, it's really, I think, well hashed out. We've gotten rid of what's not working and have just kind of moved on to what's working. But I think right now things are pretty positive for our C&E work, our DE&I work, and we're expanding on all of it moving forward.
Great. I was also going to add, I think that how well it's very clear. You have your pillars, you have what you want to do. If I'm going to be a new employee with Verizon, I then know what your culture is. I know where you're going to spend your energy and your effort. And if none of those make sense to me, then I don't come to Verizon. But if they do make sense to me, then I come to Verizon. And I think in this new world of employees want to know what your culture is, it's very clear to understand what your brand is and what you work on and what you value. And that is something that we can all take away, right? That's being really clear and it's articulated, and even how you pick which volunteer experiences that you do come back to that values and vision that you have, which I think is great. So I know we have some nonprofit folks on the call too, and I wondered if you had any thoughts about, I mean, that's a lot of volunteer time as well. And if there's anything in Northern Colorado where you all fit into their pillars, if you have some opportunities that you'd like to let them know about for future volunteering, I suppose.
Yeah, well, for all of our nonprofit attendees here today, one, please reach out to me. I would love to meet you and get to know you. I have been trying to increase our presence in the Fort Collins area over the last couple of years. Um, you know, I, I, I think that for our nonprofit folks too, not just with Verizon, but you should always try to find the community person or the external affairs person at a corporation in your area or business in your area, because volunteerism, it's happening. A lot of these companies want their employees to engage in this community service activity. And so, call me. I'm happy to see what your volunteer opportunities are and if we can be part of them. The answer is most likely yes. But reach out to other versions of me too in the community, because I know that they're all looking for opportunities to get their employees engaged. I also think that goes along with sponsorship opportunities and grant funding. The old rule is you never really know until you ask either. But, having community programs, making a community impact is becoming the norm in corporate America. And so I'm seeing it across the board. I see the versions of me out at all of these charity events and volunteer events. So, please get my email from Yvonne, or, I'm happy to put it in the chat. But yeah, please feel free to reach out.
And we'll send you the slides and the recording, and we can put Josh's email in there if you want at that point. And probably a key point is in that 2.5 million hours of volunteering that Verizon's doing across its whole company. Your employees are paid to be volunteers, right? During that volunteer time? Yes, no?
It does depend on where you are here at Verizon. It does make it a little harder for our storefront based employees at Verizon to volunteer during their shifts. But in Verizon corporate, it's definitely easier to get away for the day or an hour and do some volunteering.
Yeah, makes total sense. So Karen put in the chat to me, corporate social responsibility is a stepping stone for an organization to show visibility. I heard that term when I was in graduate school. All corporations should have corporate social responsibility. Yeah, and I think all the bigger ones are there. And so how do you do that as a small place like Teaching Tree? I see, Anne, that you're on as well, and I'm sure you have that as well, though you're a not-for-profit, but you probably have corporate social responsibility. I just don't know that we've all written them up and articulated that in a way. And I think what I'm hearing in my new role here at the chamber is that employees and future employees, especially young people coming up, really want to know what is your corporate social responsibility and how are you managing that in order to want to connect with you and choose you as a place to work, right?
Yeah, and I think too, it's twofold, right? It makes your employees happy that you're doing it and involved and aligning with a lot of their values, but our customers have values too. And so, when customers find out that Verizon gave $100,000 to the Denver Public Schools Foundation and supported Pride Fest or Juneteenth, they're going, hey, Verizon's helping my community as well. I'm a Verizon customer. I feel a little bit better now about paying my monthly phone bill because I know that it is proceeds from that are going to places that I like. So I think it's just really become the norm. And 2022, I think, is the year of DE&I. I mean, you're just seeing every company out here promoting a lot of the great work that they're doing in this. And 10 years ago, I don't think you were seeing a lot of work being done on this. And I'll close on this question, which is a couple of years ago I read this article in Forbes, and it was called The Triple Bottom Line. And pretty much what they were getting at is that companies can no longer just make a profit. You have to make a profit and give back to the community that you're operating in. And so I think that is a really great value for all companies, not just corporations, mom and pop, self-starter, startup. The notion of giving back to the community while also making a profit, I think, is a pretty awesome philosophy.
Yeah, and I think why a lot of us live in Northern Colorado is that is a basis. I mean, some of our longtime companies in our community, you think about Markley and Dellenbaugh and Columbine Health Systems and our hospitals and all that, have been big contributors. And I always feel like if you're a new restaurant opening, if you're not asking on your first day of opening, not asking for cans for the food bank, that it doesn't fit our culture here. So that very much is it. I do think a lot of folks haven't put their DEI and their corporate social responsibility into a format like you all have. I think these slides are great because you can just plug in, kind of borrow your format, so to speak, and plug in what makes sense for you. Because I think people feel a little overwhelmed with putting it together, and here it is for you in a quick and easy way. So appreciate that for sure. So does anyone else have questions or comments or things they'd like to say either out loud or in the chat, whatever works for you?
Oh, okay. Well, Yvonne, thank you so much for inviting Verizon and myself to come here today. This is a topic that we really love to talk about. It's very much woven into our company culture. And if anyone does have a question that pops up, please feel free to email me. And I will also be at the annual event tonight. So I look forward to seeing some of you there.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing and being so open about all the things that happen at Verizon and sharing that with all of us here today. We will get out to the slides and the recording as well, and you'll also see it on our website. So thank you all for joining us. We'll see you later at the annual event, we hope. If not, have a great day.
Take care.